Well, I must say, in the first instance, it's a great honor to receive the award from such a wonderful foundation. And I also have to say it's a great honor to receive it from Rhonda Lenton, president of York University and my now boss. So obviously she thinks I'm doing something right, so that's good. And also from Carol Off, who is one of Canada's best and most luminary journalists, and we've had an interrelated and interconnected history over many years in situations of war and famine and looking for new understandings and new insights into such circumstances. And obviously then from my very dear friend Iseldine. Iseldine came to Canada, well, I first met Iseldine, I should say, in January of 2010, I believe it was, just about a year after he'd lost his 3 daughters and a niece, I might add. And I met him quite by accident at Massey College, and I knew immediately that here was a force of nature. Here was a spirit that was unstoppable, that was filled with passion, with desire, with clarity of vision, and with, frankly, with just a deep love for humanity and a desire to change, to shift one of the darkest moments of his own life and to shift that into a vision of light, a vision of love, a vision that could not only honor his daughters and his niece, but that could inspire others. And I think over the, now I think about 10-year history of the foundation, there is absolutely no question. I mean, the impact, there are 400 girls in the Middle East who are sponsored through Daughters for Life in universities in and across the Middle East. There are 50 now other girls who have been, and women, young women, who have been sponsored to study internationally, many of which are studying here in Canada. And the impact is just utterly profound. And I'm so deeply heartened to hear now that Belgium is going to host through their parliament a chapter of Daughters for Life. And my dream would be to see further such seedings elsewhere around the world through other parliaments and through other government centers. As a professor now of medicine and global health at York University, I do want to just say something very quickly about education and particularly about the purpose, if you will, of this foundation. I think the basic idea is that through education, young girls and women are given the opportunity to master a domain of knowledge, to gain insight, and then to go forward and to innovate and to create new possibilities and new initiative around the world. I think it's a very noble idea, but I actually have to say I think it's a kind of an incomplete idea. Education in and of itself is not simply about mastery of knowledge. It's not simply about the application of rational mind to inquiry, whether that's in politics or poetry or physics or philosophy. It's not that simple. To achieve the kind of vision that this foundation is inspired by, it requires much more than simple mastery of knowledge. It requires true wisdom. And wisdom is not something that is simply a function of reading and book learning. It's a function of a relationship to 2 other, I think, critical factors. And one is compassion. The core element that has led to the genesis of this foundation comes from a place of love, comes from a place of deep understanding and being in relationship to children, but also to family. And that's probably the place where we most intimately feel that sense of love. But what this foundation has done is taken that and tried to bring it to beyond family to society at large. And that idea of compassion is really rooted in a felt experience of other, a felt desire to be in relationship to the other. And when we forget that, and we become simply rational actors or simply rational acquirers of knowledge and appliers of knowledge, then we forget our very basic core element as human beings. We are human beings who are first and foremost deeply interrelated. Our beingness is only in relationship to others. When we step away from that, it is then that we create the capacity for the most
extreme and most unbearable suffering that we can inflict on others through war crimes, genocide, bombing of civilian locations like Isildine's home in the Gaza. And the third element that I think is core in this relationship between wisdom and compassion is courage. Courage. The desire, the will, the drive to stand up and to participate in shaping our world, and to take knowledge as we acquire it rationally and apply it systematically with a compassionate lens, but with a desire to create a better world. And from my perspective, that's the genesis and that's the vision of this foundation. And that's why I'm so honored to receive the award and so honored to continue to support the foundation. Thank you very much.